It started with a salad. Not a burger, not a slice of cake, just a bowl of greens. Margaret had always been a health-conscious woman. At 72, she was proud to still walk every morning, cook her own meals, and never missed her daily medication. Her doctor had told her she was doing well, that her heart was stable after that scare 2 years ago. So, when she added a spinach smoothie to her breakfast routine, it felt like the smart thing to do. Until the dizziness began, followed by nosebleeds. Then the terrifying moment she fainted on her porch and woke up in an ambulance. What went wrong? The hidden danger in healthy foods. As a cardiologist, I've seen stories like Margaret's far too often. Seniors doing everything right, or so they think. But as we age, the relationship between food and medication changes dramatically. What once helped your body in your 40s can quietly undermine it in your 60s, 70s, or beyond. Let me walk you through 5 common foods that I've watched sabotage the heart health of well-meaning seniors. You may recognize them. They may even be in your fridge right now. But this isn't just a warning. It's a guide. For every risky food, I'll share what you can do instead, so your meals keep you strong, not secretly put you at risk. 1. Spinach. When a superfood turns against you. Margaret had always tried to take care of herself. At 72, she still took long morning walks, read mystery novels by the window, and enjoyed a quiet cup of tea in the afternoons. And ever since her granddaughter had shown her how to use that fancy new blender, Margaret had made it part of her routine. A healthy green smoothie. 5 mornings a week. Spinach, banana, a touch of almond milk. It felt like she was doing the right thing. But what Margaret didn't know was that this one habit, this simple choice, was slowly putting her health at risk. It wasn't the smoothie. It was the spinach. Spinach is often praised as a superfood, and for good reason. It's rich in vitamins, especially vitamin K, which plays an essential role in helping our blood clot. For most people, that's a good thing. But for people like Margaret, people who are on blood thinners like warfarin, that same vitamin can quietly undo the very medicine meant to protect them. No one had warned her. Each smoothie, packed with fresh spinach, was like a tug of war against her prescription. Day by day, her blood became unpredictable, either too thick, risking dangerous clots, or too thin, where even a small cut could become a serious threat. And the most troubling part? Margaret felt fine. There were no clear signs until one day, after a minor fall in the garden. She had a bruise that spread far too quickly and didn't stop. Her doctor looked at her charts, her levels, and asked a simple question. Have you been eating anything different lately? That's when it all came together. Like many older adults, Margaret had made a health decision on her own, without realizing how certain foods, especially those high in vitamin K, can interfere with medication. It wasn't carelessness. It was a lack of information. For seniors on blood thinners, the lesson here is clear and simple. Consistency matters. If you enjoy spinach, you don't have to give it up entirely, but it must be eaten in steady, moderate amounts. Sudden increases or drops in vitamin K intake can confuse your treatment and create serious health risks. Better yet, consider switching to greens with lower vitamin K content, like romaine lettuce or iceberg lettuce. These can give you the freshness and crunch without tipping the balance of your blood medication. And most importantly, always talk to your doctor before making changes to your diet, especially when it comes to foods you eat regularly. 2. Pickles. The salty trap hiding on your plate. Frank was 68 and proud of the choices he had made. He had given up fried foods years ago. Alcohol, not a drop since retirement. His days were filled with gentle walks around the neighborhood and quiet afternoons reading the paper. His meals were simple: turkey sandwiches, fruits, and the occasional bowl of soup. He truly believed he was doing everything right. But one thing troubled him. His blood pressure just wouldn't come down. Every visit to the doctor brought the same frown, the same shake of the head, and the same increase in his medication. Frank was confused, even frustrated. How could this be? He asked himself. I've done everything I was told. Until one day, during a nutrition review, the answer became clear and surprisingly small. Frank loved pickles. Just 2 slices, carefully layered onto his sandwich each day, seemed harmless. Crunchy, Tangy, comforting. But those 2 slices added over 800 milligrams of sodium to his meal, quietly pushing his daily salt intake past healthy limits. It was a shock. It holds water in the bloodstream, increasing pressure on artery walls. For seniors like Frank, whose bodies are more sensitive to changes in blood pressure, this hidden salt can silently lead to hypertension, kidney strain, and over time, even heart failure. Frank wasn't alone. Many people in his age group face the same silent trap. They do their best, walking, eating healthy, yet overlook the everyday foods that sneak too much salt into their diets. The fix, small swaps. The crunch was still there. The flavor, even brighter. And most importantly, the salt, nearly gone. He also began checking labels, something he hadn't done in years. He learned to look for phrases like low sodium or no salt added, especially on canned soups, vegetables, and packaged meals. He started rinsing canned beans before cooking and cutting back on cured meats. Slowly but surely, his blood pressure began to fall, and with it, his anxiety. For older adults like Frank, it's not about giving up everything they love. It's about understanding what's on the plate and making small, smart changes that protect the heart, the kidneys, and the years ahead. Because sometimes the biggest dangers are hiding in the smallest bites. 3. Red chili peppers. The heat that hurts the heart. Doris was 74 when the discomfort began, a kind of pressure she couldn't explain. It started gradually, just a few restless nights, a flutter in the chest after dinner, a thumping heartbeat while lying in bed. But for someone like Doris, who had spent her whole life loving spicy food, none of that seemed connected. She was raised in a kitchen full of flavors. Her mother's stew, always simmering with red chili. Family dinners meant laughter, warmth, and a little heat on every plate, even when she lived alone later in life. Doris kept that tradition alive, adding chopped red chilies to soups, sprinkling crushed pepper over her eggs, and always making sure every meal had that familiar fiery kick. But things changed one night. After a particularly spicy bowl of her favorite chili, she felt her chest tighten. Her heart raced. It wasn't just a flutter this time. It was pounding, uncontrollable. It scared her. She sat in silence, breathing deeply, unsure whether to call someone or wait it out. Eventually, it slowed down. But that night stayed with her. She went to her doctor the next morning. Doris felt betrayed. By her food, by her habits, by the little pleasures that used to feel harmless. But giving up spice? That felt like giving up a part of herself. Her doctor didn't say she had to eat bland food. In fact, he encouraged her to explore new flavors, ones that brought warmth and depth without the same physical toll. Doris started experimenting. She tried rosemary, which gave her chicken a comforting, earthy aroma. Thyme added a savory depth to her soups. Turmeric brought color and subtle heat without the rush. And paprika, sweet and smoky, became her new favorite. It wasn't the same as the fiery bite of red chili, but it didn't need to be. She learned that flavor didn't always need to come from heat. Sometimes it came from richness, layers, and the way herbs made her kitchen smell like home again. Most importantly, Doris felt safe. Her heart stopped racing. Her chest stopped tightening. And her meals? They still made her smile. 4. Raw garlic. Nature's medicine with a catch. Harold was 70 when he first heard that raw garlic could help the heart. Like many others his age, he wasn't looking for miracles, just something natural, something simple. He read that garlic could lower blood pressure, clean the arteries, maybe even keep his cholesterol in check. So, each morning, Harold crushed a clove of raw garlic, swallowed it with water, and hoped for the best. For weeks, he felt fine. In fact, he thought it was working. "I feel lighter," he told his wife. Maybe this stuff is really doing something. What he didn't realize was that raw garlic, while natural, is also extremely potent, especially when combined with the blood-thinning medication he was already taking. One Saturday morning, Harold stood up too quickly in the garden. A sharp dizziness came over him, and he lost his balance. He fell, not hard, just enough to bruise. But by evening, the bruise had turned black. By morning, his abdomen was swelling. It turned out he was bleeding internally, slowly but dangerously. The doctors at the hospital were clear. The combination of blood thinners and raw garlic had made his blood too thin. What should have been a simple fall led to 7 days in the hospital, IVs, scans, and a very frightened family. Garlic, as it turns out, can also cause sudden drops in blood pressure, leading to lightheadedness or fainting, something that can be risky or even life-threatening, especially for older adults living alone. The fix: if you love garlic, and many do, there's a safer way. Cooked garlic still carries many of its health benefits, but is much gentler on the body. The heating process tones down the compounds that interact dangerously with medications, especially blood thinners like aspirin, warfarin, or other anti-clotting drugs. And more importantly, never add raw garlic or any supplement to your routine without first talking to your doctor, especially if you're already managing conditions like high blood pressure, heart disease, or taking prescription medications. Natural remedies can support health, but they are not without risk, particularly as we age. Harold's story is a reminder. Sometimes, what's natural isn't always what's safe. 5. Raw sprouts, a silent infection risk. It was a peaceful morning when Harold, 72, decided to make his usual health breakfast: a bowl of fresh greens, a slice of whole grain toast, and a handful of raw sprouts. For decades, he believed in clean eating. Sprouts were alive, full of enzymes and vitality. That's what he had read. That's what he had believed. But 2 days later, Harold was in the emergency room. He hadn't eaten anything strange. No undercooked meat, no street food, just his usual breakfast, and yet his body was battling an invisible threat. The culprit? The raw sprouts. The hidden truth behind sprouts. Sprouts often wear the mask of purity. They look fresh, natural, and harmless. But underneath that clean exterior, there's a darker truth most people don't know. Sprouts are grown in warm, moist conditions, the exact environment where bacteria like E. coli and Salmonella thrive. For younger bodies, these bacteria may cause nothing more than a mild stomach upset. But once we cross the age of 60, our immune system becomes less aggressive. It doesn't fight back the way it once did. For someone like Harold, that same bacteria didn't just cause diarrhea, it spread through his bloodstream, reaching his heart, triggering a dangerous condition known as endocarditis, a potentially life-threatening infection of the heart's inner lining. And just like that, something as simple as a salad became a silent threat. Why seniors are at greater risk. As we age, we don't just wrinkle on the outside. Our internal defenses were down too. The immune system becomes slower to respond. The stomach produces less acid, which normally kills off many harmful pathogens. Even the gut lining weakens, allowing bacteria to pass into the bloodstream more easily. That's why seniors, even those in great health, face a much higher risk of hospitalization from foodborne illnesses. Sprouts may not look dangerous, but they can act like a Trojan horse, carrying harmful bacteria deep into your system, silently. The fix: a simple change that can save you. But here's the good news: you don't have to give up sprouts. You simply have to cook them. A quick sauté in olive oil, just 2 minutes, is all it takes to destroy harmful bacteria while still preserving the fiber and many of the nutrients. You can also add them to soups, stews, or stir-fries, warm dishes that comfort the body and protect the gut. Harold now enjoys his sprouts lightly cooked with garlic and turmeric, a mix that not only tastes better, but also boosts immunity. He's healthier, wiser, and still eating the foods he loves, just a little differently. So what can you eat? Let's be clear. You don't need to give up on vegetables. You just need to know which ones truly support your heart, especially now. Here are heart-friendly options I recommend to my older patients: steamed broccoli, baked sweet potatoes, cooked tomatoes, sautéed kale, boiled lentils, and green beans. These foods offer potassium, antioxidants, and fiber without the hidden dangers. And they work with your medications, not against them. A message from your heart. By the time you turn 60, your heart has beaten more than 2 billion times. It's still beating for you. But now, It needs your help. Aging isn't about fear. It's about wisdom. Wisdom to know that health isn't just about what's trendy or natural. It's about what's right for your body now. Margaret recovered. She changed her diet. She worked with her doctor. And today, she still enjoys her breakfast. Only now, it's a bowl of oats with blueberries instead of spinach smoothies. Your story could be just as powerful. Start by looking at your plate. Then listen to your heart. Because every beat it gives you now is a gift.